Hi guys, I'm Eddie Satterly. I'm Chief Evangelist in the CTO office for Splunk. In my previous life, I built a pretty large big data solution for a large online travel company, including a lot of Cassandra, about 144 nodes, as well as a couple petabytes of Hadoop and about 6.5 terabytes per day of ingest into Splunk. So I have a little passion for a whole lot of these things. I'm involved pretty heavily with the Cassandra community when I can. And part of me being at Splunk means I get to help do some cool new things, to do some integrations. I think one of the biggest complaints that at least my internal guys had when I was building Cassandra out was being able to do searches from some kind of a UI that worked, as well as being able to pull everything together and explore the configurations. So I built this little prototype app last year. A couple of people have been running it for a little while, but I now will have a supported app released within the next month or so, so I thought I'd show it off here. You'll be able to find it on Splunk Base as one of the Splunk apps within a month. So do a quick talk and then we'll jump right into the demo. So basically Splunk has a lot of capabilities. For those of you who don't know it, you can do searches, you can create monitors, alerts, build dashboards. It's a very heavily used analytical tool. We get, I think, 5,500 customers, enterprise customers at this point running around the world, using it for a ton of different use cases. But there's still a whole lot of data that doesn't fit really well in Splunk. Splunk is not an OLTP data store. It doesn't handle that kind of transaction load. It wasn't built for that. Cassandra is in a lot of our customer accounts, our larger ones especially. They're using it for an OLTP store, and it'd be great to get some of that information. Like at my old job where we had this really nice search thing powered by Cassandra. It was great to pull some of that stuff out and combine it with something else. Also in Hadoop, great place to store a bunch of stuff and do some computations over time and be able to pull it back in. So we're basically moving to supporting these data stores as a way to be able to get data sets in, be able to search against them. There was a Hadoop Connect app released last year. That's going to be iterated on in the near future, as well as my Cassandra Connect app. And DB connects out as well for the people who still use those relational database things. So I'm going to go to the demo, which is far more interesting than me talking. So quickly, so we'll start off on this side. So this is Splunk's normal UI, Splunk dashboard. Oh, nice. Works even less that way. So we'll just look at exploration first. So what I've done is configure this to where it goes out and pulls all the information from the system tables that are available to tell you exactly what the configs of your current system are. So in this case, you can look and see what the available key spaces are that exist out there. This is the kind of flight sample data set that's loaded so we can do some big searches. I created something called Schema 1 just to create a little bit of user table to show what a small would look like. And then I have all the column families that are created under all in one place. You can look at them, you can drill down into them. From there, we'll go to the schema look. So you can basically pull up from here a search that'll give you all the information, again, about the schema. These are all custom search commands that were built using Python extensions within the Splunk UI. So DB schema is a custom search command for Splunk, and if I wanted to use one of them that already existed, some command out there that is built into Splunk, I can just do a quick count of by key space, how many are there, right? So any of the things that work in the Splunk pipeline, all the analytical functions, all the 300 plus search commands will work in conjunction with commands returning data back from Splunk and Cassandra together. If we go look into a column family, so this is the flights column family. If we look into it, it goes into the full definition. So you can see exactly what names, your indexes, these are all created with CQL. So you have all the information. You can go look at the names of the columns you want to look for. So if you're writing a search and you need to know which particular columns you want, you can find out all the columns that are available from the exploration side. Same thing, I'll show you a simpler one that was built with Picasa. So if we look at the schema for the user table, it's very, very simple. It's age, last name, first name, and age is an index. So you'll be able to go ahead and do explorations. These are all live commands again that are hitting directly against the system column families. If I wanted to do a get keys, I'm doing this on a small store because I'm sitting on a Mac with 3 VMs running, and so it'll give you all the keys that are available out there. If they're not textual keys, you'll be able to get them all. So it'll return back the keys so you can do a search by keys using DB lookup. Also have configs. So I'm also indexing all the lines of the YAML, so you can go look by host and see exactly what your current configuration is if you need to look for a particular configuration. One of those things we were just talking about troubleshooting in the last lightning talk, you'll be able to quickly pop through here and look at all the things that are in your current YAML file by server in the cluster. I'll jump to troubleshoot real quick, but save the best one for last. So from a troubleshooting perspective, like I said before, I ran this in an environment, so I know what's important to me. It may not be what's important to everybody. It's very easy within Splunk to add more, but pulling up warnings, pulling up errors, looking at your Cassandra system log, looking at your Cassandra log, which unfortunately nothing happens on this box, so it's empty. But you can see your flushes in the last 24 hours and compactions run in the last 24 hours by host. In this case, I only have one of my hosts up, so you're only seeing it by host. But if there were a number of hosts in your cluster, they all show up here when I run against my AWS cluster. So all this is already built. Again, you can add these any way you want. You can modify them. You can search through them, drill through. But the stuff that, oh yeah, and I actually built some other little searches to go count the number of errors, for instance, using the extended commands, or the number of messages rather. So this host in the last 24 hours has given you 1,600 messages. But this is what's actually interesting. So have the ability to issue a full CQL search using the complete CQL language from within here. So you pipe to dbcql, issue the CQL command in quotes, separated, and it will parse out the whole thing. If you put 10 or 15 in there, it'll parse them all. It'll return back the results with all the fields, puts it all into one nice interface, which will let you combine it with data from something else. So in this search pipeline, I could also go look at my network logs from my devices that are stored in Splunk or whatever else and be able to pull it all into one place. For a more complicated, so doing another CQL search, just pulling back origin, because I looked and see origin's the very first field when I was looking through my configuration information. This will give you all the origins. If we pop back over to really quickly to the configuration of the actual flight column family, I can see that another field down here is year. So I can go right back. I'm going to do it the cheating way because it's faster. Go right back here and say, okay, I don't really want origin, I want year. And just change the command. And when it's done searching, it'll return back. Year is apparently blank. But if we pick another one of the fields that actually has a value in it, you'd be able to go really quickly and just see exactly what's there. Like I showed you before, you can do counts. So you know there's 3 rows. It'll show you there's 3s in the stats count. Any of the functions, I mean, I kept it pretty basic, but any of the functions that are available. Also, in this case, if I decided I don't want my flights table anymore, I can, because I'm logged in as admin on this box, I have full administrator privileges, which roll down to my Cassandra configuration as well. So I have the ability to just change this and say, you know, use flights, drop flights. It will work. You can choose it, you can comment it out. It's pretty easily in the files that are part of the application to tell you exactly where to get rid of that if you don't want it to work at all. I've just set it up to where it works for an administrator role. If you're in the admin group from role-based access security here, it's going to give you access to those commands. You can create, anything you can do from CQL, you can do from here. So you could create a couple of new column families really quickly. You create a new key space, do a new configuration however you wanted to. Everything will be able to be done from within the one UI. From a CQL perspective, there's also a DB lookup command, which is another pipe to DB lookup, which will let you use Picasa to go retrieve data from column families that were not created in a way which can be accessed by CQL3. So we have Picasa in here as well. I don't use it much, but that's how we can pull all the data sets in. It's all pretty simple if you know how Splunk apps work. So everything is literally just combined within the app. So there's a whole bunch of Python commands that run all these different things, whether it's dbcql or dbdiscover, which is how we looked at the entire configuration of the cluster, or whether it's dbgetKeys, which you pass it a key space column family combination. It goes and gets all the keys, all the row keys for you. Be careful with that one because the flights database, my Cassandra cluster fell over yesterday because that's several 100,000 rows, and it didn't like that in a 2 gig heap on my little VM. DB insert, I can actually stream, and actually I was working with Matt Dennis on solving this problem down in Austin a few months ago, but I also have the capability to take a set of results that come from a Splunk search and do a pipe it to DB insert and write it directly into a column family that you already know. So we'll also be able to stream data out and into a column family to do as a reference table or look up whatever you want. Some of this other stuff is just there because it has to be. DB schema is the way that we looked at inside the column family, or inside the key space, what the column family configurations were. So these literally, anything with a dash command is just a custom command that's built within the app. These are all, everything is open within our apps. So when it's checked in, you can break this apart, do what you want with it. But these will all be here. It'll basically let you do full searches. It'll let you merge the searches with data that lives somewhere else. I'm just showing the config. The actual Cassandra config, there we go. I mean, this is actually stored in a Cassandra Index, so I'm picking up a file. So if you look, it's actually, or in a Splunk Index rather. If you look at the index equals casconf, that's the configuration index that comes as part of this app. And when you run this, it's going to, I only have one config. I haven't made any config changes in 7 days, but if I had made config changes, I could look by time and see how many things were deltas from one time to another. So when you're going out and trying to figure out whether or not something's turned on or turned off, if someone went and turned it on or turned it off, you can also use the alerting engine to quickly say, if anything in the casconf index changes, alert me. You can do what I used to do and have it kick puppet and go put everything back. There's lots of ways that you can do it, but it will let you do just about anything you need to do from one place now. So I will open it up to questions. Well, I'll actually put the slide up that's got my information on it too, so you can see that, and then I'll open it up for questions. Oh, I should probably talk about this too. So this is what's in here now. So what's there is we actually have the Picasa support, CQLv3 support, all the stuff that I showed you is kind of on the left. What's coming in v1.1 is actual role-based access integration with DSE3. And being able to provide API integration for Ops Center so that if you want to view all of your Ops Center metrics within here, we can quickly make a call out and just show you a summary of how everything's going. I'm not trying to replace the functionality, just be able to present it in one UI if you want it that way. And then right now, the column family creation is capable of doing it now, but only with CQL. We'll be able to do it with or without CQL. The Vita 1.1 will be released sometime this fall. Like I said, the version that I just showed you today and all the functions that are there are going to be released within the next month. I'm getting support to take over, so it'll have full enterprise support with all of our other applications. So that's me, and ways to contact me. And anyone has any questions, feel free to ask or come up and catch me if you don't want to talk publicly. Okay, well, everybody just understood that fully, so no questions. Great. Thanks.